Hey everyone, welcome back to the Bruce Williams channel. Let me show you what I've been wearing today. This is the Omega Speedmaster Professional Sapphire Sandwich. It's the Moon Watch. It's the new Metis certified version with the new bracelet, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great watch. But today I want to highlight a new release from a Swedish micro brand that I have not had experience with in the past, but I think you guys are going to like what they're releasing. This is going to be their nicest dive watch, their nicest sport watch released to date. It is the Tuseno Shellback. Again, it's a Swedish micro brand. This is going to come in at the affordable price segment. I believe pre-order is going to be $650. We'll get into all the specs. We'll get into the extras. And then after the pre-order closes, the full retail price is going to be about $800. So let's start with the dimensions. Let's go into the details. And I just want to share my first impressions here of this upcoming release. So 39.8 millimeters of diameter, 47.2 in overall lug to lug dimension, 12.9 in overall height, 20 millimeter lugs, tapering down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. And I've got to mention, the bracelet I think is one of the highlights of this release. You guys can see we have full articulation on these links, and the links are held together via screw system instead of a pin and tube or a split pin system. So you guys will see a very nice drape and quite a bit of visual interest and light play coming off of the different facets and angles here of the brushed finish. I really like that. Now, continuing, we have 172 grams, the overall weight of the package on the bracelet, and the watch will carry 200 meters of water resistance. We do have a screw down crown, and then we do have a double dome sapphire crystal with anti-reflective treatment on the underside of the crystal. And then if you take a look at the dial, you guys will notice a sandwich style construction with BGW9 everywhere. It's in the sandwich portholes. It's in the printed railroad track. And if you look at the bezel insert, which is also ceramic, fully indexed, all of the indexing will also be done in BGW9, which I like. BGW9 carries good longevity. It carries a pleasant cyan tone, and in natural light, it's desaturated. It's white. It doesn't have the greenish tinge of C3, so it looks especially sharp on the gloss black enamel and the brushed blue, vertical brush blue dial iteration here of the Shellback. Now, another little detail I kind of enjoy is the fact that Shellback is written on the dial in kind of an arced or an arched element. It's slightly curved. And if you look at the hour hand, there's a hole in the center, and it's perfectly placed so as the hour hand sweeps along the bottom portion of the dial, you guys can see it highlights the model name here of this design, which is kind of a fun little detail. Now let me show you guys some wrist shots here. My wrists, just for reference, are 7.25 inches in circumference. And this one, again, being just sub 40 millimeter, I think looks really pleasant, really proportional on wrist. Again, I like the light play. I like the gloss of the ceramic. I especially like that vertically brushed blue dial iteration. That looks really good. And I will say that this is a prototype. This is a sample. If you look on the case back, it will say sample, in the case back. So there will be a couple of changes between this prototype and then the production version that you can pre-order. And the main one that I think a lot of you will enjoy is they're going to tweak the end link. Right now we have a protruding center portion of that end link that effectively lengthens the overall lug to lug dimension, and it looks just a touch odd in my opinion. They're going to change that. We will now have an inverted center link here for the end link, which is going to be nice. It will also allow the watch to be a little bit more comfortable and better suited to those of you that have smaller wrists or smaller sport watch preferences. So that's going to be a good thing. And then the next change is going to be the bezel action. Let me kind of pull this up in front of the microphone. Again, it's a prototype, and it's a little bit stiff. It's a little bit difficult to turn. Honestly, it's not super satisfying. And so Tuseno is going to refine that. They're going to change that a little bit. So what you hear here and the amount of torque needed to make the positional changes, that is not going to be representative of the production model. They're going to fine tune that. But other than that, this is what you can expect if you were to pre-order. I like the size. I like the details. Let's talk about potential negative elements here. And just be aware, these are my first impressions. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with these watches and we'll do a longer in-depth presentation. But I think one thing that kind of bothers me as a watch enthusiast is if you opt for a no-date variation, which I like the balance and symmetry of a good no-date dial. You won't be able to get a true no-date movement. You're going to have a ghost date in the no-date dial variations of either the blue or the black. And that's just a little bit annoying. And that's not something that's going to be changed on the production version. So if I were to be pre-ordering, I'd buy a date variation just so I wouldn't be annoyed by the ghost date. Because we don't have an ETA movement, we don't have a Sellita movement, we don't even have an STP or a Seiko-made movement. What we have here is a movement or a caliber that I have no experience with. It's a Swiss-made Ronda R150. It's going to be very similar to the 2824 or the SW200, except it's 0.2 millimeter thinner, and it carries 2 extra hours of power reserve, so up to 40 hours of power reserve. And I'll drop in some pictures here. By the looks of it, it doesn't look expertly finished. It looks like a basic grade Swiss movement, comparable to ETA, comparable to Sellita. But here's the thing, I just have no experience with it. And I have a ton of experience with the other calibers. And so I can't tell you, hey, this is a great movement, or hey, this is a crap movement. We don't know. Time will tell. Again, I didn't even know Ronda did automatic calibers, if I'm honest. So we'll see how this performs over the years. But it is a Swiss-made movement, which is nice. I think that can be important for a lot of consumers. So let's just kind of wrap up the video. Overall, first impressions, I like the look here. I like the size. I like the design. I like the fact that it's not trying to rip off a Submariner from Rolex or a Seamaster from Omega or a Longines watch. I like the fact that it's a little bit different. It's a smaller size. It's a pleasant size. I like the light play on the full articulation of the bracelet. I like the fact that you do get a little bit of a micro adjustment, that you don't need tools on that milled clasp. It's going to be very similar to what you would get on a strap code bracelet. So I think there's some really nice things going for it. And I'm looking forward to doing a full review. I'm looking forward to spending a little bit of time with this watch. So if there's something you'd like me to kind of delve a little bit more into depth about, let me know. I'd be happy to try to help and provide that information if I can. There will be a link in the description to the pre-order. And again, that's opening up on August 12th. And the pre-order price will be $650. You can opt for a blue, a black, a date, or a no date. And if you get the pre-order, you will get an additional Tropic strap. You will get an additional NATO strap, which is pretty nice. And if you miss out on the pre-order and you end up wanting to buy it, the price will go up to about $800. And again, there's no extra straps. So take advantage of that pre-order if you like the watch. And I want to shout out Johan of Tuseno. You've been really nice to work with. And I was very surprised when I saw the Swedish cookies right back there included in the box. That was just a really thoughtful touch. Thank you very much. I'm excited. My girls are excited to try some Swedish cookies directly from Sweden. So thank you very much for that. Guys, again, reach out with questions. Thanks for watching today. Stay tuned for the full review. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.